Video, we'll learn about existence. Now you might be thinking, what do you mean existence? Well, in a simple terms, existence is talking about the idea that there is or there are something. And this is a pattern we use all the time in language. Oh, there's a book. Oh, there's a tree. Oh, there's a car. Oh, look, there's a house, kind of thing like that. So this is really common. You might be wondering why there is, there are. And again, we want to drive back to the idea that there's no general plurals in Japanese. So how we're going to say this could be either there is or there are, depending on how many of the things that you're talking about. So it means both, really. Now, the part where this gets a little bit different from English is that there's two words that mean both there is and there are. And let's pull them out here and take a look at them. We have aru and iru. Now, both these words, you might be thinking, oh, does one mean there is and one mean there are? No, that's not how it works. Aru means there is and there are, and iru means there is and there are. So this type of thing doesn't exist in English. We just have one way to say it, there is or there are. But what it is, they both mean there is and there are, and they're used with different types of things. So, to explain, aru is used when we're talking about inanimate things, and iru is used when we're talking about animate things. So for example, if you're talking about a house, you would use aru. If you're talking about a person, you're going to use iru. Animals be iru. Right? A book would be aru. Coca-Cola would be aru. Your father or mother or parents would be iru because they're animate, they're living, they move around and stuff like that. So when we're talking about there is or there are, for animate objects, we use iru. When we're talking about there is and there are for inanimate objects, we use aru. Now there get all kinds of interesting edge cases, right? People always ask like, okay, what about like dead squirrels or zombies or ghosts or like trees and stuff? And well, the answer for trees is that it's aru, because even though it's kind of alive, it's not moving. So it's just, or it is, but it's moving very slowly, or it's just getting pushed around by the wind. But it isn't walking around thinking and stuff like that. So trees and flowers and all those kinds of things are in rivers and stuff are all aru. And the other edge cases like dead squirrels and zombies and stuff like that, we'll leave those for another time. But you can kind of ponder those on your own if you're curious. So the first question then we have to ask is, okay, how are we going to change aru and iru to make their mas form and masen form so that we can say that there are things or there aren't things, correct? So giving a second, what we know about the mas form and of verbs, how would we make the mas form of aru and how would we make the mas form of iru? I'll give you a second to see if you can create these because you know the rules, and once you know the rules, you can do them. You can create these because they follow the rules. And I'll give you a hint, they're a little bit different. Pause the video if you need to, because it's kind of generating the stuff is better than me just giving you the answers. So our first one is aru has an a sound in front of the ru. So even though it ends in ru, it has an a sound in front of it. So it follows the group of kind of like everything else. So that means that the final u sound changes to e and you add mas. So you get arimasu. Iru, however, has an E sound in front of the ru. And we know that verbs that have an E sound or an A sound in front of their ru at the end drop the ru and add mas. So iru, mas form would be imas. If you didn't get those right or you're totally confused, go back and look at verbs again. So now the next question is, okay, that's great. We know what iru and aru, we know what they are, but how do we use them in a sentence? So we want to know what our pattern is, because again, language is patterns and words, right? So what's a pattern we can use to talk about something exists? And here we have it. Thing ga arimasu or thing ga imasu, depending upon what it is. Now by thing, I mean a noun, so like it could be a person or a dog or a book or whatever it is you're talking about, ga arimasu and ga imasu. So, an example, for example, if we wanted to say there's a pen, would be pen ga arimasu. Okay? I'm going to give you a couple examples, see if you can think of what they would be. How would you say there's a book or there are books? Because we don't necessarily know until we talk about like how many of something there are. How would you say in Japanese, there's a book, there are books? Pause the video if you need to. Here's our answer. Hon ga arimasu. Let's try another one. How would we say there's a cat or there are cats? Be careful. Think. Which one do you want? Answer is neko ga imasu. How would we say there's a car? Here's the answer. Kuruma ga arimasu. And then we can go from here to the basic, arimasen and things like that to make the pattern. But that's what the basic pattern is for saying there is and there are things and talking about. This is very common. It also leads us to be able to talk a lot more about location, which is where we'll be going in a little while. So this is kind of the beginning of that whole talking about where something is, not just that it exists, but where it exists. So this is kind of the first building block for that whole sequence. Hope that helps, and have a great day.